Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hi! My name is Natasha and it's fantastic to have you here. For today's video, we are in our living room right now that's decorated for Halloween, so I thought it would be the perfect backdrop for more spooky ghost encounters that I have had. So with that being said, grab a snack, grab a nice drink, a cup of coffee, and get cozy as I tell you some more ghost encounters. So if you've watched part one, you know that I grew up with some sensitivities and I just did not know how to go about them. And neither did my parents or grandparents. So for that, I was kind of in the dark, traumatized me, shut it all down, and here we are. So when I was younger, about maybe 12-ish, we were living in a place that just seemed very heavy. The energy was very heavy, dark, and my family and I and all of us there were very argumentative. We were quick to get upset. The negativity was just insanely high. And so we're not like negative people. We've never been negative, but like the stress levels, just everybody's attitudes, we were growing up. I was becoming a preteen. So of course, hormones of, getting upset, didn't want to be around the parents, that sort of a thing was happening. So a lot of it we could just chalk up to changing times. The environment is a little stressful, etc. But that all came to a head with different situations that would happen. And back in the day when I was 12, 13-ish, we didn't have like computers. Like we didn't have a house computer yet. And so I needed to have some form of way to do my typing for school. And I ended up inheriting a word processor. So for those of you who don't know what that is, a word processor is basically a typewriter that is attached to a computer monitor. And so essentially it's the same as a computer, except all it does is a Word document, right? And so the typewriter itself, that portion had a the keys coverage. So you can take this cover on and off to protect the keys from getting dust in it, etc. So with that being said, this is where it gets crazy. So that was what I did for my homework. If I had to type stuff up, research, etc., it was all being typed on that. So one night, I awoke to a feeling of annoyance because I had thought, my God, it is the middle of the night. What is my brother doing here on the word processor, his last minute homework? Are you kidding me? I'm trying to sleep because all I heard was tap, 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 tap on the keys. I was so frustrated because, again, it's loud. It's not something that, it's not those buttery soft keyboards that we have now. It was clank, clank, clank. So I'm just like so frustrated because it is like him to leave everything to the last minute and annoy everybody because we all have to help him out, right? That was what he was at that age. So that was the thought racing through my head as I'm half asleep being annoyed by these keys. So I ended up falling back to sleep, didn't think anything of it. The next morning, I was like to my brother, what were you working on? What was so important that you had to wake up in the middle of the night to type up? And he goes, what are you talking about? I didn't have homework. I said, you weren't in there on the word processor? No, I wasn't in there on the word processor. What do you mean? I heard tapping and keys like for an ungodly amount of time. And he was just like, it wasn't me. It was not me. So I was like, okay, that's weird. So I chalk it up to it just being like a one-off. Maybe I was dreaming, whatever. Happens again the next night. And a couple more nights. And at this point, it's not a glitch. I have turned it on and off. I have checked it out. It is not anything that, what would cause that, right? It was physical clicking and clacking. So one night, it was happening for so long that I woke up and I was just like, you know what? I wonder if I can turn the monitor on to see if it's typing anything. Like if it will continue to type when I turn this on, because either it's a glitch, either it's something wrong with the word processor, or I've got a ghost. But like, I was trying to pump myself up. So I do that. I get out of bed and I get all like, okay, we got this. All right, we're going to go to the word processor. So I walk over there and I'm shaking because it's getting louder and louder. The clicking, the clacking. And it's not like random keys. It sounds like someone is writing a novel. And so I go over and I reach for the cover of the keyboard. And as I do so, it stops. I pull it off. It stops completely. And then I go and I turn on the monitor to see if anything was written on there. Nothing. So I have full body chills running down me. I am freaking out. I rush back over to bed. I throw the covers on and I am just petrified. Now, keep in mind, at the time, I was still kind of going to church. It wasn't something that I was like fully believing in, fully embodying. I was not like religious. I was nothing of the sort, but like it kind of gets ingrained in you to pray over that situation when it comes up or when anything bad happens, like to pray. So I was underneath my covers and I'm just praying to God, please let it stop. Please let it stop. Like, protect me. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm terrified. And I ended up falling back asleep, waking up to my alarm. I tell this to my mom when I wake up and she's like, oh, that's really weird. I said, you didn't hear anything? No. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, I got to get rid of this word processor. I don't want it in there. I hate it. You know, there's something off about it, but I needed it for school. So this place had a whole bunch of off energy, and that wasn't the only thing I experienced in this place. So there was one time where, again, late at night, and in my head, I was thinking it was a late night. I didn't really know what time it was, but I was again asleep, and I wake up to hearing cupboards slam. You know, not like angrily, but it was just like no one's caring to be quiet. You know, they're just being very overtly closing the cabinets and drawers, just like, you know, being rough with it. But it didn't feel like anybody was having an argument. In fact, it felt like, and it sounded like, there was a party going on in the kitchen. So this place wasn't a huge living space, right? It's not like I was in a mansion. So I could hear the kitchen. It wasn't out of the realm of possibilities to hear. And so it sounded like there were women laughing, carrying on, having a conversation that just sounded like mumbles. Heels, the sound of women's heels on the tile, walking, clicking and clacking. I'm getting chills right now as I'm recalling this. And there, again, it just sounded like people were having a good time, talking, gabbing it up. It sounded like girls' night. Maybe a few drinks of wine, that sort of a thing. And so I remember thinking to myself, my mom doesn't drink, but maybe her friends are drinking. I don't know, but it sounded like they were getting a little loose. And I was like, okay. And I was just like, God, you know, they know we're asleep. They know we have like things to do in the next day. And I was like, whatever, fine. I will go to sleep. And eventually I did. The next morning I wake up and I'm like, hey mom, like, who was over last night? She's like, what do you mean who is over? And I was like, why, like, did you have your friend over for a long night of like girls' night? And she's like, she looks at me with this bewilderment. And I said, Mom, it sounded like you guys were having a good old-fashioned girls' night in the kitchen. Like, what was going on? Like, you guys were slamming the cupboards and walking around. Like, who had the heels on? Because you don't wear heels. And keep in mind, I'm like 12, around that age. So it's not like I'm a toddler or a small child where I wouldn't understand these things. And she's like, Natasha, I was asleep. No one was over here last night, and I would not be in heels in the kitchen. Like, this is not Leave It to Beaver. And I said, well, there was a commotion last night. Somebody was having a party. I heard it. It was very loud, and I keep waking up at night, and I'm tired of it. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. They are not here. Nobody was here. and maybe we got to go to church. Because she's not very religious, but at this point, she's hearing me, talk about all these things and these experiences, these dreams that I've had. And she's just like, I'm out of options. I don't know what to do. Like, this is not what she was going to parental courses for. You know what I mean? Like, they don't teach you this when you're getting pregnant with your first child. So, anywho, this continues to happen where I wake up in the middle of the night thinking something was going on. Nothing really is there. At this time, we do have a small cat. And he wasn't very much a kitten at this point anymore when this happened. He was maybe like a year old. But I remember him distinctly one night in the door of our bedroom. I kept it open at this point because I'm already terrified. I'm already scared. And I don't know what's going on, but he's sitting in the doorway just looking up. Not making eye contact anywhere else, just looking up in the room. Oh, I'm getting chills again. And so I'm like, okay, this is weird, but I got to go to sleep. And all of a sudden I wake up. I'm just petrified, terror all over me, because I see this big outline as tall as the door frame, if not taller. I don't recall a lot of the features. It was just this black mass of shadows, two red, gleaming, beaming eyes staring directly at me. And I'm petrified. I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. The cat is nowhere to be seen at this point, but I'm completely paralyzed. So this could be a situation of sleep paralysis. This could be a situation of sleep paralysis. But again, I wasn't aware of it at the time. So this fully did happen to me. I remember it distinctly. And he was just staring at me completely. I shut my eyes, still there in my mind's eye. I'm terrified. I'm petrified. I'm shaking. I can't move. I can't do a dang thing. Like, my body is just a frozen block of ice. And so I'm in my bed. The only thing I could do is shut my eyes and pray. Please, God, let it go away. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it wants. I'm terrified. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Oh, so after that night, I confided in my grandma a lot about these things. My grandma, she was religious, but she was more on the spiritual side. She believed in angels. She believed in psychics. She believed in all of that thing. I, to this day, think she was a little witchy. She just didn't want to tell us. So I confided in her with all of these experiences. And she's just like, you just need to call on your angels. They'll protect you. And I was like, girl, I have been doing that. And these experiences are still happening. And she's like, well, maybe we need to, tempt them to go to the other side. Maybe there's something that we can do. So she had eventually come to the place, and it was a situation where we were opening up the windows and we were telling the spirits to go to the light. I don't know. I was kind of petrified to do this. I don't remember if there was any smoke. I think we had a candle. I don't recall. It was kind of one of those things that it was so traumatizing, this whole span of time, that bits of pieces I remember, but I blocked out a lot of it due to how traumatic it was. And I remember her just being there with me, telling the spirits to go to the light. They're no longer welcome here. They're no longer, they can no longer do any harm. But it was the type of place where you always felt like you were watched, where it just didn't feel good to be there. I always wanted to be outside playing, which we did a lot of the times. And so after that happened, whether it was a placebo effect or actually what we did worked, the activity started to calm down. There wasn't much going on with the word processor anymore. In fact, I think not too long after that for Christmas, ended up getting a family desktop computer. So I was able to say goodbye to that word processor. And we eventually were able to kind of just coexist. And we learned to kind of ignore the littler sounds. It wasn't that big of a deal. But the cat, he was a great little protector. He was a sweet boy, and he never did that again with the doorway stare. That was that one and only time. But like, I remember him doing this and then just staring. Like there was something there he was looking at. So anyway, long story short, we found out that one of the previous occupants in there, in the room that I was, my bedroom. Yeah. I was going to say in the room I was staying in my bedroom, he actually, took his own life in the closet. So, yeah, we didn't find out. I think my mom went to go ask the landlords about, like, if there was anything crazy going, like, that she should know about because of all of my experiences. I don't remember if it was disclosed to her prior to moving in or if it was after the crazy things happened that she inquired. That was enough for me. And I said, okay, no wonder. When are we moving? Like, I'm done. I was so done at that point. But I only found out when we were like getting ready to move. That's when she told me, because it was like, you know, I could let you know now. I can give you that bit of info. So to this day, the scariest place I lived in, the most negative place that I lived in. And when we moved, the family dynamic shifted into a better situation. We weren't so short-fused. We weren't arguing all the time. We weren't feeling heavy or negative. It just was a better environment. So something was going on in that place, and those are my scariest ghost encounters. This was a bit of a longer one. I have more shorter ones that I could do in another video, but I'm going to leave this one for today. If you want more, please let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comment section. This is something completely different for my channel, so I would love to know your feedback if this is something you want more of. So with that being said, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I love you and I like you. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on your way out of this video. That way you will never miss an upload from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye!